Part 79. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 781. This time, Guyao and Qi Changjai wanted to find a safer place to rest, and take a look at the contents of the box. If the small world can grow, his strength will be further enhanced. Helpful. Just look at the fierce battle for the divine plant before. He didn't join. If he wanted to join it, who would care if he was a top-level alchemist, and he would still attack? The inner hall was even more important. They had to be prepared to do it with others, especially the top bosses. Following Xiaodan's instructions, the two of them reached a certain place, and before they entered it, they sensed that there was another aura inside, not only one, but the other two were a dead person's breath. You don't need to think about it. Is the corpse demon emperor, the breath of the dead is the corpse puppet beside him. The corpse demon emperor has a very bad reputation. He not only uses dead people to refine corpses, but also uses living people to refine them. Before, the two emperor-level corpse puppets around him were the emperor-level masters who had been attacked by him. Puppet, it is very difficult for monks to cultivate to the emperor level. The emperor-level masters could have a single star field in the fairy and demon world, but they can fall into the hands of the corpse demon emperor, but they have become like this, and their souls are trapped in being unable to enter reincarnation in a corpse puppet, and being reincarnated is undoubtedly a heinous crime for the monks. The corpse demon emperor often disappears after one vote. There are not many monks who want to kill him, but before everyone gathers to rush over, he hides again, and he is the peak of the emperor level, and he has many trump cards. The same emperor level peak shot, there is no guarantee that he can fight against him, let alone kill him, which led to his bad reputation, but still alive and well. Taking such a cultivator to operate, the two of them have no scruples at all. They made eye contact, and the two of them decided on their action plan. Never let this old guy have a chance to escape, trapped inside, and grinding can kill him. The corpse demon emperor is adjusting his breath in a side hall. When he robbed the gods before, although he exploded a corpse puppet, he was not too injured, but compared with the gods, it was nothing. Getting the plant is his biggest gain. Besides, after the injury is healed, he will look for an opportunity to kill a few monks. What they have in their hands is also his own. This trip to the temple is definitely worth it. There is still a chance. To get something better, he was looking forward to the trip to the inner temple. As for whether he will be found by other monks if he stays here? Oh, when he was a corpse demon emperor all these years. Many hidden methods have been prepared along the way, and none of them want to come here. Even if they come, they can warn in advance. No one has the ability to run away. But at this moment, two breaths quickly approached him, and the energy outside rioted. This was a big move. Who? The corpse demon emperor shouted, and at the same time, the two corpse puppets guarding him in front of him also dispatched and flew towards the two breaths. But at this moment, there were two more breaths outside, which stopped the corpse puppet, and the previous two breaths continued to come towards him. The corpse demon emperor was furious, who was so reluctant to haunt him. When I flew out and saw it, I was immediately annoyed, but soon became excited again. I didn't expect that you two boys, there is a way to heaven, you will not go, but you want to break into the of my corpse demon, haha, genius sword repair. Talented alchemist. Turning you into my corpse puppet will definitely be the biggest reward of my trip to the temple, haha. The corpse demon emperor laughed and greeted him. He was not the flashy old thing that Tianke was, and was frightened away by Qi Changjai's sword. The war broke out in an instant. Zai and Mou entangled the two corpses, the ban outside burst into a burst of light and then quieted down. Only Guyao and Qi Changjai knew that the power of the ban had increased. If you want to break the ban, you have to see if the people who are inside will give you this time. Between Guyao and Qi Changjai, the main fighter was Qi Changjai, and the slaughter sword didn't show mercy. He caught the corpse demon and killed him. Guyao was his deputy, and he used the same sword he had taken at hand. This made the corpse demon emperor even more evil thoughts in his heart. In his opinion, this ancient alchemist's combat power is really not very good. The rumors outside are all just to see his alchemist's face. Take Chi Changjai first, this kid is not at hand, let's not use him to refine the corpse first, he made a few more pots of elixir for himself, and that was the most cost-effective. Even the back paths for Guyao and Chi Changjai were arranged. The corpse demon emperor roared, waved, and released 2 corpse puppets, which were also emperor level. This made Guyao and Chi Changjai see their pupils shrink and their murderous aura grew even stronger. Seriously, how many emperor level masters have been damaged in the hands of this bastard? The corpse demon emperor directed the 2 corpse puppets to attack Guyao, wanting Guyao to be in a hurry, so as to contain Chi Changjai, so that he would have a chance to take advantage, but can he really do it? Kill! Chi Changjai's slaughter sword burst into blood and covered the demon emperor. At that moment, his consciousness and vision were useless. While the demon emperor was secretly frightened, he was even more determined to take Chi Changjai's decision to refine the corpse. Because the stronger the original body is, the better the corpse puppet is. But the next moment, a deadly crisis struck, and the demonic corpse demon emperor didn't have time to think about where this deadly crisis came from. A bell-shaped spiritual treasure was smashed towards him in the blood. No, the demon emperor wanted to escape, but the soul-dangling bell locked him. No matter where he fled, he couldn't escape the circle locked by the soul-dangling bell, and even the 2 corpse puppets he had just released were lost. Control. With a wave of his hand, he threw a top-level magic weapon and blew himself up, trying to gain a moment's time. However, the soul-shaking bell ignored the self-exploding magic weapon and continued to slam into it, and the sound of the collision with the magic weapon made the corpse demon emperor's head burst into waves. Faint. Boom. Laugh. The soul-dangling bell hit the head of the corpse demon emperor, and the blood-colored sword energy of the slaughter immortal sword cut through his defenses and pierced into his body, and the corpse demon emperor vomited blood and flew out. When your illness is killing you, Guyao ruthlessly controls the soul-dangling bell to keep hitting. Bang bang bang. The corpse demon emperor could not regain control of his body at all. How could he organize a counterattack? The blood-colored sword energy invaded his body recklessly. Finally, hot flames spewed from the glass bottle and rolled over his body. The corpse demon emperor screamed again and again. Wanted the corpse to turn around to contain Guyao, but was subjected to a huge disturbance and resistance. Competing for soul power, Guyao is not much weaker than his emperor-level peak, not to mention that the opponent's soul was greatly damaged by the impact of the soul-shaking bell, and a few slaps from the cubs made these corpses crumbling. Completely fell to Guyao and them. The corpse demon emperor finally realized how stupid his idea of hitting Guyao and Chi Changjai was. Guyao, an alchemist, was not weak at all, but he was initially blinded by his weakness. His soul power is stronger than his own. In the end, the soul of the corpse demon emperor was killed by Chi Changjai's sword, and when the soul flew away, his body was also burned to nothing. As soon as he died, the 4 corpse puppets outside completely lost their effectiveness and stood there dumbfounded. The 2 of them didn't know what kind of characters these corpse puppets were when they were alive. After thinking about it, they should put them away first, and wait for the right opportunity to see if they were sent directly into reincarnation. Although the corpse puppet can increase the cultivator's strength, the 2 are not used to using such means. After the corpse puppet is restrained, the strength of this old thing is actually average. It can be seen that it is the key to strengthen one's own strength. When the corpse demon emperor fell, the emperor-level peak monks in the outer hall seemed to feel it. Although the movement was not spread due to the ban, they glanced in that direction and doubted in their hearts. Fallen. Who would it be? At this moment, a peak cultivator has fallen. It can't be the old guy Tianke, he lost to Chi Changjai before, maybe he's being watched. Could it be the old corpse demon? I heard that he stole a divine plant and escaped by burning his blood essence. Although he had a great ability to escape, he could not keep himself from being discovered. He was injured again, and it is possible that he could be killed by someone taking the opportunity. I don't know whose hands it will fall into. Let's forget it. Who can kill the old corpse demon? How can it be an ordinary monk? It is not so simple to take the gods from him. Just a few corpses around the corpse demon emperor. Puppets are very entangled, and you can't get close to solving the corpse demons without solving those corpse puppets. Besides, it is not certain that it is the corpse demon emperor who has been killed. Guyao and Chi Changjai didn't know if the outside world would notice the movement here. They didn't want to take risks and they took the spoils and left. This time it went well. They didn't meet the other monks who were hiding, and they reinforced the restrictions outside, and the two were able to relax. The first thing to do when you relax is to check the harvest first. The corpse demon emperor is going to kill, and his belongings cannot be let go. An old-fashioned peak demon emperor, who wants to come with a lot of wealth, not to mention the rest, a plant will do eye-catching enough. When he opened the storage ring, Guyao thought about it, and a box appeared, and what was sealed inside was the divine plant obtained by the corpse demon emperor. Although he had felt the breath of the divine plant in the Xianzi garden before, it was more real now. And the energy in the plant is more abundant than the top-level fairy grass. It's really a good thing. Do you feel that the energy in the gods is different? Chi Changjai checked it out and said, this is an energy that is higher than Xianqi. It seems to be somewhat similar to the world power you use, Xiaoao, and the power of destruction I use. Guyao nodded, I think it should be. It's no wonder that a divine plant can trigger such a fierce competition. It can be seen that this thing is very useful to the peak monks. When I have time, I will see if I can make a medicinal pill. It is too wasteful to directly swallow and refine it. Of course, it is also a risk to use alchemy. If it is destroyed, it will be bad. Put the plant into Guyao's small world, and then look at the other items in the storage ring. Guyao suddenly his face darkened, a poor ghost. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 782. Guyao muttered as he moved things out, it's really a poor ghost. The immortal stones can't add up to a top-level immortal vein. Is this still a top-level cultivator? You must know that when trading top-tier medicinal pills before, some bosses only took 2 top-tier immortal veins. It is estimated that the corpse demon emperor is the poorest one among the top bosses. Pills are also common items. There are not many top-tier immortal grasses, and there is not one innate spiritual treasure, only 2 acquired spiritual treasures. 1 top-level magic weapon exploded, and there are still 2 left, and there are still middle-grade treasures. Magic weapon. On the contrary, he turned to the methods of refining corpses, especially those of living people. Guyao didn't even look at it, and he directly destroyed it, lest it be spread out and harm others and himself. There were also other methods of insidious damage, all of which were also destroyed, but there is a storage space dedicated to placing corpse puppets, and there are actually Suanja corpse puppets, human-shaped, animal-shaped, and many refining materials that you do not know. Chi Changjai thought for a while and said, I may be able to guess why he is so poor. Corpse refining should cost a lot of materials, and his emperor-level corpse puppets should cost a lot besides. His reputation is not very good, and he is also behind. There is no sect, even if he is a peak monk, he can't be too unscrupulous. It is really angry, and it is not impossible for other peak monks to join forces to chase and kill him. This time he entered the temple, perhaps with the idea of making a fortune. Unfortunately, bad luck in the last sentence. Chi Changjai's voice was full of endless ridicule, and Guyao also burst into laughter, but that's not the case. If you are lucky, it will not fall into their hands. Guyao felt that Chi Changai's words were very reasonable, and no longer bothered about why the corpse demon was a poor ghost. Anyway, he was rich himself. Turning around, the consciousness of the two of them entered the small world, and Zizé and Mou were also sent in. They appeared on the top floor of the pill pavilion and looked at the box. Little Dan, what exactly is inside? At this time, Guyao also realized that the aura leaked from the inside was indeed beneficial to them and the small world. Ziodan floated above Guyao's head and explained, "Brother can call it the heart of the world. When one world collapses, it will leave an energy core. Of course, not all worlds have it. In this box, this is the thing, but it should be a broken heart of the world. This thing can be met but not sought," and Ziodan did not expect it to appear in the weapon pavilion. After listening to Ziodan's explanation, Guyao and Chi Changjai were both shocked. Just hearing the name and the origin, they knew how extraordinary it was. It must not come from the fairy world, but obtained it from outside. No wonder Ziodan said that it can make the small world growing up. Is it enough to just release it? Guyao asked. Yes, after it is released, it will take the initiative to merge with the small world. Don't worry, brother. When it is merged, it will also give feedback to the creatures in the small world. Ziodan can't wait to give birth to two wings and fly, expressing his excitement, because he will also grow. Outside, Guyao and Chi Changjai immediately opened their eyes. They made some arrangements. They thought the outside was not safe enough. After layers of defense were laid, the two returned to the small world. They broke the seal of the box together, and they saw the inside. A bead the size of a fist flew out. Yuanzu ignored the defense of the pill pavilion, and flew out with a slam, jumped into the air, and then burst into light, and the eyesight of Guyao and Chi Changjai also lost their function. But at the same time, the small world made a rumbling sound, which was the energy released by the small world absorbed into the sphere, and it was developing outside, and there were countless sounds of learning and soothing. That was the growth of all things in the small world. And Guyao could sense that Zizé, Mou, and Zibao soon fell into a deep sleep. It's amazing. The two quietly waited for the end of the process. Chi Changjai could still absorb the energy released by the ball, but Guyao, the master, was not good. But gradually, when the small world further expanded, the power of the world and the vitality of all things feed back to him. His breath is also improving a little bit. I don't know how long it took, the process finally slowed down, and the two regained their sight. They flew out of the pill pavilion and flew in mid-air overlooking the entire earth, showing shock. The original small world was big enough. Now that the heart of the world is integrated, the small world has expanded several times. The most important thing is that they can clearly feel that the level of the small world has increased and become more complete. It can be sensed that in every corner, countless lives have begun to be born. The purple cloud eagles flew out one by one. They have long since become residents of the small world, and the ethnic group has expanded. The leader has the strength of a king. They circled around Guyao and Chi Changjai, expressing their surrender. With intimacy. The two looked at each other and smiled, and jumped on the back of this purple cloud sculpture together, and let it lead them to tour the whole small world, which was more intuitive than using spiritual sense to perceive. This is their world, a world that will be more perfect in the future. What is a controller? In fact, in this world, they are the masters. As long as they continue to grow, who says this world cannot grow into another world of self-cultivation? And they are the masters here. At this moment, they have a clearer concept of the controller. This kind of comprehension made the aura of the two rise again, and the two immediately entered the retreat. The outside is still chaotic, the corpse demon emperor is gone, but there are still 3 divine plants that are contested by everyone. Here, there are countless top-tier immortal grasses and spiritual treasures, which are also the objects of competition. One after another, monks fell, and this was when the inner hall was not opened. However, there are also monks who have advanced in the process. A monk at the peak of the emperor level directly crossed the calamity in the temple and became an early emperor level monk. In the late stage, of course, these monks were originally at the bottleneck and lacked an opportunity to break through. This made the other monks even more crazy, and one day in the temple was worth decades of work from the outside world. There are also people who are looking for Guyao, and they have gained something in the temple. They want to ask Guyao to make a pot of pills, but they have not found any trace of them. They only know that they finally appeared in the extremely hot and extremely cold region. No one knows where to go after leaving. Some people suspect that the peak cultivator who first fell was the corpse demon emperor, because some people saw that the Tian demon emperor appeared, but the corpse demon did not, but in whose hands he fell, there was no way to prove it. "Father, who do you think the corpse demon will fall?" Shen Wei asked the man in front of him. Kong Qiang said with gloomy eyes, "I suspect it is Guyao and Qi Changjai, only they have not reappeared since the death of the corpse demon." "Father, the plant in the hands of the corpse demon." Shen Wei stared at the plant in the hands of the corpse demon. The other three plants were too eye-catching and were stared at by many people. Only this one was lost because of the corpse demon. "It's not so conspicuous anymore. Wait for the inner hall to open, they will definitely appear, and it will not be too late to look for opportunities." Kong Qiang is determined to win the gods. Not only the gods are in his pocket, but also Guyao is also his chosen prey. Half a year later, all the cultivators felt that the temple was shaking, and everyone quickly lifted into the sky with ecstasy in their eyes. The inner temple is about to open, let's go." One person took the lead, and the other monks followed and flew to the back of the temple. At the same time, the energy in the temple became more intense, and there was fog everywhere. Even if the emperor-level monks practiced here, they could also gain a great deal in a short period of time. Improve, the effect is no less than the emperor-level medicine pill. It's just that no one wants to waste time on retreating and practicing. Maybe Guyao and Qi Changjai are the only two people outside the temple. The two of them just came out of the small world, and they also sensed the shock of the temple. Without Ziodan's words, the two could guess that it must be related to the inner temple. The two quickly removed the surrounding formation restrictions and flew to the inner temple. In the sight of all the monks, a palace gradually appeared from hidden to present. This palace was even taller and grander. It was a peak monk, and it seemed incomparably small in front of the palace. Everyone was scrambling to be the first to enter the inner hall, but the more they flew forward, the more they felt that they could not get close to the inner hall. "In front of me, I don't know how many layers of space are separated. At this time, it is futile to enter. You can only wait for all the movements to stop before entering." It was at this time that Guyao and Qi Changjai joined everyone's team, and they attracted everyone's attention as soon as they appeared. "Alchemist Gu really knows how to find a place, so let's find it hard." Did the ancient alchemist find a place to concoct pills? Can I exchange the top-level immortal grass for top-level pills? Guyao shook his head apologetically and said, "No, Xiao Xiao has closed Xiaoguan. If everyone needs it, it won't be too late to leave the temple." Many emperor-level bosses shook their heads and sighed. These two guys actually still have a leisurely retreat. They are promoted fast enough. Can they still be promoted to the peak of the emperor level in this half year? It's almost impossible, unless there is a big chance. When Guyao and Qi Changjai came out, they lowered their cultivation to the late stage of Immortal Emperor, the same as when they came in. At this time, even the Emperor-level peak cultivators could not detect their true cultivation, so in the eyes of others, their aura only increased slightly, but there was no qualitative breakthrough. If it is exposed at this time, it will definitely become the focus of everyone, and people will explore, what great opportunity did they get? After entering the inner hall, I am afraid that I will not be able to get rid of the attention of other monks. Does the ancient alchemist know that the corpse demon emperor has fallen? A monk asked. Gu Yao said in surprise, really? Was it an accident or was it killed by a fellow? There are several peak cultivators who are paying attention to his and Qi Changjai's expressions, but Qi Changjai doesn't care. Gu Yao's surprise is undisguised. It should really have nothing to do with them, so whose hands did he die? Could it be that guy in the sky? You must know that he is not alone, there are many helpers around, and he can indeed solve the corpse demon emperor. At this moment, the tremors in the temple stopped, and the inner temple opened. Everyone had no time to pay attention to whose hands the corpse demon emperor died, and flew to the inner temple. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 783. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai slowed down and followed behind the others. At this time, there were voice transmissions coming, more than one, from Fenyehua, from the Dragon Clan, from Xianhuan Palace and Huangji Hall, and from Luoyang and the others. Reminding them that entering the inner hall requires opportunity, and not everyone can enter. For example, Fenyehua directly told Gu Yao that he could follow him, while Luoyang and Husu guessed that the things in the Jingyu Tianxian site should have fallen into the hands of Gu Yao and Qi Changjai, because the forces in the past were all in the hands of Gu Yao and Qi Changjai. There was no gain, and at that time, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai were indeed the last to come out. Gu Yao's voice transmission replied, "Don't worry about us, you just take care of yourself, you can enter the inner hall if you can. If you can't enter, we have no regrets. If you can't enter, it means that there is still a lack of opportunity." As soon as they finished the sound transmission, they heard a few bang-bang sounds, and after a glance, they knew that it was the fastest cultivators who were bounced back by an invisible cover and could not enter. On the contrary, those cultivators, the cultivators of the big powers and the peak bosses, have a more relaxed attitude. An early emperor-level cultivator wanted to attack the barrier unbelievingly. A top-level boss flew behind him and waved him away, "Go away, not everyone can enter the inner hall." Then he showed a black token, and the transparent barrier waved and covered him. How could this be? Where did the token come from? The emperor called out in disbelief at the early stage. Why didn't they know about this? Where did the tokens come from? I should have known that they were going to grab a piece. How many tokens are there? Gu Yao and Qi Changjai glanced at each other in surprise. The iron ball in their hands was not a token, but the texture was similar to the black token. They saw that some cultivators entered alone with tokens, while others brought their companions, but at most 3 people entered. Try it. Gu Yao took out a black ball. As soon as the black ball approached the transparent barrier, it immediately began to disintegrate. The fragments outside kept falling, revealing the black token inside. Gu Yao didn't expect this to happen, and the iron ball disintegrated easily. You must know that he and Qi Changjai tried a lot of methods before but couldn't break the iron ball, and couldn't refine it. Immortal Emperor Ziji on the side smiled and said, "It shouldn't be very clear from your expressions, your token has never been used since it was spread from the temple, and anyone who holds a token has come in before, the people handed down. You are really lucky, this thing falls into your hands, but even if there is no, I believe that there will be many forces willing to take you in." It turns out that, thank Immortal Emperor Ziji for clarifying our doubts. Gu Yao thanked him. Immortal Emperor Ziji laughed twice, and led the monks from Xianhuan Palace through the barrier. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai looked around and found that many people were staring at the tokens in their hands. When the tokens appeared, some people started to the tokens from others, but because they were afraid of the strength of these two, although some people are just around the corner, but no one has taken the lead. Seeing that the cultivators they knew, including Immortal Emperor Ganjing, had a way to enter, the two did not want to expose the existence of the second iron ball, and turned around and entered the barrier, which made some cultivators want to attack them. I regretted it again, maybe move faster and grab the token from their hands. The figure of Immortal Emperor Qianjing disappeared in a flash, but the moment of disappearance reminded Gu Yao, be careful of the old thief in the sky, he will not give up on you. Gu Yao frowned slightly, how could he not give up? However, when I was in the outer hall before, I did feel the faint look from this guy, which was strange. Humph, it's unclear who will kill the deer. If he dares to do it, he and Qi Changjai will dare to take over. Su Heking's face turned pale. Only then did he realize that he needed a token to enter the inner hall. He watched as Gu Yao and Qi Changjai entered. The cultivator who cooperated with him either hid or separated from him. In the outer hall, his alchemy master still has some role. When he arrives in the inner hall, he may think that he has become a hindrance. The battle in the inner hall is more intense. Maybe it is not a good thing for him to enter the inner hall. Su Heking comforted himself like this. Once Gu Yao and Qi Changjai participated in the battle for the inner hall, the monks who had shown him goodwill might turn around and fight them. Those two guys had better stay in the inner hall again. It's better if he can't come out. Even if he can't compare Gu Yao with Su and Qing Dan, but he has lived longer than Gu Yao. In the future, who will remember that there was such a genius alchemist in the fairy world? It's hateful that Gu Yao didn't keep the inheritance in the alchemy palace. No, maybe Lu Changfeng and the three of them would not let go of this inheritance, because he saw that these three high-level alchemists also entered one after another. Compared with the middle-level alchemist, there are indeed many advantages. He is not jealous of Lu Changfeng and others, but he is extremely jealous of Gu Yao. There is only one tall palace in the inner hall, not a group of palaces like the outer hall. Therefore, as soon as the barrier is passed, everyone can't wait to fly to the palace. The closer you get, the more magnificent the palace is. Can also fit. As soon as he entered it, Gu Yao found that he and Qi Changjai were separated, and the others were nowhere to be seen, and he could not contact the small world. He could only sense that the small world still existed, and the consciousness could not be spread out of the body. Come, at his feet, an upward staircase extends. Without any hesitation, Gu Yao lifted his foot and walked up the steps. Once he stepped on it, even the Xian Yuan Li couldn't function, but he did not lose all his power. Yes, he found that the real power could still be used, which made him secretly amazed. I don't know how many steps there are, but every time I go up, the pressure on my body doubles. If there is no realm force to use, Gu Yao doubts that he can go up to 50 floors at most. Crush to collapse. As you walk, you run the world force to adapt your body to the heavy pressure brought by the steps. This road was very lonely, and it became heavier and heavier as he walked, as if he did not try his best. A voice told him that as long as he went back, he could get out of this state of mind. Rao is Gu Yao's powerful soul, and he could feel it more and more. This kind of power shakes the mind. While chewing on the taste, he still thought to himself, fortunately, when he first entered the temple, he experienced a journey of spiritual refinement. Clear, this also makes his state of mind extremely stable. Such a swaying mind does not have much effect on him. On the contrary, the more he went up, the more he felt that he had become proficient in mastering and using the world power, and that new world power was constantly bred in his body under pressure, which made him happy. He and Qi Changjai both entered the peak of the Immortal Emperor after retreating because of the integration of the world's heart into the small world, but their strength has grown too fast, and it does take time to settle. But they do not have this time in the temple, and now this ladder, like a grinding disc, constantly hammered their bodies and energy, continuously tempered them, removed impurities, and left the most pure power. Perhaps this is the reason why the world power is constantly growing. Realizing this, Gu Yao did not allow himself to shrink back, but kept climbing upwards, constantly squeezing his potential. I don't know how long he walked, but he forgot the time. He only remembered that he kept climbing up, and he couldn't remember how many layers he had walked. The demands of his body, endless exhaustion flooded into his heart, and the physical body has reached the limit, and one step further, the body is really about to collapse. Gu Yao's unyielding temperament is too high, he doesn't believe that he will collapse if he takes one step further. He tries to lift his extremely heavy legs, and then takes another step forward. One leg was finally lifted and placed on the front steps. The next moment, it wasn't the collapse of the body, but a boom, the incomparable world power poured into the body, quickly moisturizing his dry body. Gu Yao also lifted the other foot up, it turned out to be able to crush him. The pressure disappeared, and I felt very relaxed. Countless world forces were nourishing every corner of his body, and he felt that his physical body was constantly improving, and when he finally reached a peak, it was as if countless fireworks were set off in front of his eyes, and blood was gurgling in his blood vessels, and he himself did not know it. What kind of promotion he has reached, but there is a feeling that he is stronger now than the previous peak. Maybe if the corpse demon emperor appeared in front of him again, he could kill him with one punch. This was not an illusion brought about by his self-confidence, but he really felt that he could do it. The stairs going up disappeared before his eyes. He entered a space, but he still saw no one else. There was only a stone tablet in this space, and this stone tablet made him a little familiar. By the way, he remembered that the stone tablet he and Qi Changjai encountered in the secret realm that Yukong Cheng entered, which taught them the Vulcan body forging method, was not exactly similar to the one in front of him. If there was a difference, it was the steel in front of him put more pressure on him, and the steel in the secret realm seemed to be somewhat damaged and not so complete. He suddenly had a thought, could it be that this stone tablet is related to the original owner of the temple? Still unable to contact the small world, Cub and Mou were both inside, and Qi Changjai still was not seen. Gu Yao stood in front of the stone tablet and pondered for a while, then decisively raised his feet and put his palms on it. With a bang, his mind was really like fireworks blooming, with countless light spots bursting out, and each light spot contains countless information. If his soul is not strong enough, maybe under one shock will be washed away. Gu Yao gritted his teeth and persevered to stabilize his mind, believing that as long as he remained clear, he would be able to persevere successfully. I don't know how long it took to hit, the fireworks finally dissipated, and the golden light spots gradually condensed in his sea of consciousness. Gu Yao immediately sat down and took the initiative to accept and condense these light spots from the initial passive. At this time, he did not find that the stone tablet outside had also dissipated like fireworks, as if the stone tablet had never existed. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 784. Gu Yao didn't know that each monk who entered the inner hall underwent different tests. What appeared in front of him was an upward ladder, and what others faced might be the most insurmountable desires in their hearts, such as the treasures leading to the master. The time to end the test is not the same for the top-level alchemy they dream of, but when they come out of the test, they will find themselves in the palace of the inner hall. The chaos in the inner hall also started at this moment. Everyone felt that they got the greatest benefit, but at the same time, some people were looking at the things in other people's hands, especially, there was this guy with ulterior motives, Kong Qian. Empty vault, do you dare? As soon as Gu Tingzi came out, he found himself trapped in the encirclement of empty vault. Damn, those void beasts are still by his side. Why did the temple put all those void beasts in? And the void beast can also pass the test of the temple? He didn't know that these void beasts were the first to come out of the test. Maybe the simpler the desire, the easier it was to pass. The leading void beast had both intoxicated and excited eyes, and roared at Gu Tingzi repeatedly, as if it was carrying a void beast. The population has completely become the overlord of the fairy and demon world, and those monks have been reduced to their food, and they can continue to multiply and grow their population in this world. This is their innate wish. The reason why they will cooperate with Kongshan is because Kongshan agreed. After the event is completed, they will share the fairy and demon world with the Void Beast in the future. Fulfilling the promise, the leading Void Beast was not worried at all, because the two sides swore an oath to each other. Of course, there was no friction between them. The Void Beasts on the battlefield had a big siege against their population, and the leading Void Beast knew about it, and knew that the rest of the group had been expelled. Dispute, because the development of the situation did not go as smoothly as Kong Kyung said, and even wanted to return to the battlefield with other Void Beasts to rescue. But Kong Kyung promised him that as long as Kong Kyung was willing, he would help it to bring back its clan, and now it will only fail at both ends, and unknowingly, Kong Kyung has more and more influence on it. Which made it a little confusing. If Kong Kyung knew the thoughts in his heart, he would laugh endlessly. How could he even be unable to control the Void Beast, a simple beast with developed limbs and a simple brain? Emperor Gu, I have offended you a lot, but as long as you hand over what you got, I will let you go. Kong Kyung said that I persuaded Gu Tingzi for your good. Gu Tingzi scolded angrily, I've never seen such a shameless as you. Even the two old ones, Zombie Demon and Tianke, are better than you. At least they are bad and magnanimous, not like some people still have to keep their secrets. When the true identities of Fu Fan and Emperor Kong Xiandi get out, do you think they will still be the original evaluation when they are mentioned in the fairy and demon world? I tell you, you will be better than the corpse demon and Tianke. It is also notorious, no matter where you go in the future, you will be a stinky mouse that everyone yells at. Being abducted and deceived, which one have you not done? It's a shame for the monk world. Kong Kyung's face turned gloomy. So what if he likes to play the role of a great man and a hero, listening to other people's praise of Fu Fan? He is both proud and sour at the same time, feeling that he is playing with those ant-like monks in the palm of his hand. Made him particularly happy, with an indescribable sense of satisfaction. All sentient beings are just the same existence as the Void Beast. When he is willing, he will give alms, and when he is not willing, they should sacrifice their lives for themselves. Kong Kyung licked his lips and laughed savagely, it doesn't matter, as long as you all die, this immortal demon realm becomes the palm of the seat. It's not what the seat wants to say or whatever. Give it to the seat and kill this one. Disobedient bastard. The Void Beast waiting by the side roared and rushed towards Gu Tingzi. Gu Tingzi scolded her mother while fighting against the Void Beast. At the same time, she had to guard against Kong Kyung's conspiracy. This is a despicable villain. Soon other monks appeared, and Gu Tingzi had to advertise Kong Kyung's conspiracy despite being injured, so those monks also joined the battle, and Gu Tingting could take a breath. If he hadn't gained something in the inner hall, the strength has increased, but it almost failed to support it before. As more and more monks appeared, not only did Gu Tingzi help out, but Kong Kyung also used his lobbying skills to draw people to form a camp, and work together to expel the monks from the other camp first, and wait until the crucial thing when they appeared. They competed for each other according to their abilities. Originally, people's hearts were not aligned, and many monks had the same purpose. Although Kong Kyung was extremely despicable, he had to admit that his strength was not weak. To temporarily win him over would allow him to interact with the void he controlled. The beast keeps other monks in check, and when that thing appears, it may not be possible to win with a large number. So people with their own thoughts also formed a camp, so gradually, the inner hall was divided into 3 factions, and one faction held a neutral position, such as the monks of the Dragon and Phoenix families, and the other 2 parties often had to fight. The cultivator on the neutral side watched calmly. Feng Yu looked from east to west. Dragon Emperor was carrying his hands on his back, watching the other side of the fight in full swing, and said, "Is Feng Huang waiting for Ancient Alchemist and Qi Immortal Emperor?" Feng Yuhua, who has inherited the memory, actually doesn't have a good impression of the Dragon clan, but the current situation, the 2 clans have to join hands to stand together against the 2 camps, Kong Kyung is not good, and other monks may not have their own. Calculate. The relationship between him and Gu Yao Chi Changjai is well known, so he said calmly, yes, I'm waiting for Gu Alchemist and the others, and I know that Kong Kyung doesn't have good intentions for Gu Alchemist, now let them fight first. Come on, my Phoenix clan will sooner or later clean up this sky. Regardless of whether Feng Lingfei was willing or bewildered, Kong Kyung is the mortal enemy of the Feng clan. Only after the Dragon clan, Feng Yuhua glanced at the Dragon Emperor and thought to himself, but the battle with the Dragon clan was not for a while. It can be over in a while, and it will take a long time to fight, so it's better to solve the empty dome first. If the empty sky does not solve it, and does not deter the monks in the fairy world, won't those monks have the idea of the Phoenix clan in the future? This is absolutely not possible. The Dragon Emperor smiled and said, this emperor is also waiting for the ancient alchemist and the others. Kong Kyung is not only the enemy of your Phoenix clan, but also of our Dragon clan. You can't easily spare him just because he didn't make up his mind, so on this matter, you and I should join forces. No matter what, you and I are both important supporters of the demon world, and it is better not to have differences in the temple, so that other monks can take the opportunity. Feng Yuhua glared at the Dragon Emperor angrily. This is to remind the Phoenix clan that the Dragon clan is not capable, right? The Kong Kyung didn't succeed in fighting the Dragon clan, but the Phoenix clan's idea was done in 1 dozen. Does it mean that the Phoenix clan is not as good as it is? Dragon. But I also have to admit that the words of the Dragon Queen are very reasonable. If the Dragon and Phoenix clans fight here, maybe those monks will change their positions immediately and find an opportunity to attack them. Okay, it's only valid in the temple. Once you get out of the temple, you can take care of yourself. Okay, Feng Huang is wise. Seeing that Feng Huang didn't answer him, the Dragon Emperor was not angry, and chuckled softly, Phoenix Emperor, do you think the temple will welcome its owner this time? Who will be the final winner? Do you want to? We make a bet? Although their inheritance memory is not very detailed, they still leave traces of some major events. For example, this temple has actually been opened more than once, but it does not mean that the temple is opened, and the monks who enter the temple can get it. A chance to reach the sky. Of course, monks who are able to get out alive after entering the temple can generally get a lot of benefits. This time the dragon and the phoenix are actually the same. This time, after the return of the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor, the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor may return soon. To advance to the peak, they have a high level of special bloodline of their own origin. Once they become the peak, their combat power is definitely the peak in the fairy and demon world, and few cultivators can become their opponents. With their shelter, the Dragon clan and the Phoenix clan will also usher in a prosperous age. The two clans will continue to grow, and the future clansmen will not only hide in the clan before they grow up, but will go out. The cultivators of the two clans did not dare to attack the two clansmen easily, otherwise they would face their endless pursuit to kill Feng Huang. Although he did not live as long as the Dragon Emperor, it was not easy to fool. What if our answers are the same? You have to ask this emperor is a choice. Other than that, don't think of others. The Dragon Emperor laughed. How could he not know the answer of the Emperor Feng? Coincidentally, he also hoped that those people would be Guyao and Qi Changjai, because they did not have too much prejudice against all races, and would not ignore them just because they were cultivators. For the interests of demon cultivators, they also get along very well with some demon cultivators in the demon world, so in order to maintain the stability of the three realms, it is most appropriate for them to come forward. As for the old thieves of Kongshan, it is best to die in this temple. When they go out, they will only cause chaos in the three realms. Immortal Emperor Ziji and Huang Yushan are also in secret contact. They came out relatively late, and it seems that they have gained a lot. I looked at Kong Kyung and those void beasts and said, the Kong Kyung can't stay, and those void beasts had better find a chance to deal with them, otherwise, if they have a chance to leave the temple, they may not be able to find them all. Kill. That's right, that's what I mean. Depending on the situation, it's not that simple to get to that point. Maybe you and I are lacking something. After fighting with the void beasts for so long, if they don't do their job well, it's not that they can't tolerate their existence when they walk out of the barrier, but they are too greedy, and they collude with the sky to plan for a bigger plan, which is intolerable. Huang Yuxian took a deep look at Kongsheng and said, "Where's that guy Qianjing? That guy has never appeared. I don't think he will miss this opportunity to deal with Kongsheng." Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 785. Immortal Emperor Ziji didn't find Qianjing either, so he guessed, maybe he's waiting for a better opportunity. Both of them had the temperament to do what they said, and secretly contacted two cultivators, so they created opportunities again and again, and those void beasts seemed to have sent themselves into their hands by chance. Relentlessly and directly result in them. The two of them have lived long enough to not show up at ordinary times, but among the peak cultivators, they also belong to the powerful category, and they can kill the void beasts in the late stage of the emperor or even the peak, and they can still do it neatly and simply. He found that there were a few less younger brothers beside him, and the leading void beast was angry and shouted at Kong Kayang. Only then did Kong Kayang realize his situation. If the number of void beasts continued to decrease, he might be on his side. The monks would soon turn their backs on each other, so they ordered the remaining void beasts to be collected. As for the monks who were not convinced by the same faction, they had the ability to do it on their own. Before their goals are achieved, these void beasts still have to use helpers. Immortal Emperor Ziji and Huang Yuxian had some regrets, but they were killed by void beasts one after another. No one could see that they were doing it on purpose. At this moment, there were bursts of energy fluctuations in the palace, and the cultivator who fought fiercely stopped immediately, with a happy expression on his face. "Come out." Immediately afterwards, Guyao and Qi Changjai, who had never shown their faces, came out of the void. Many monks showed disappointment, and some people found out that the two of them had just appeared, and they were a little surprised. How could they have dragged on until now just appeared? Just seeing that they are still in the late stage of the Immortal Emperor, the doubts in their hearts quickly dissipated. Here, the peak monks have the advantage. What can these two Immortal Emperors do in the late stage? Even if their combat power is great, can they resist one peak cultivator and two? 3. Kong Kayang stared at Guyao and Qi Changjai pitifully. He thought that Guyao would come out early, but he didn't expect it to be delayed until the last time. When he came out, he was rushed over by Feng Huang and others to protect him. He just wanted to take advantage of the chaos. Guyao has no chance to start. He has been playing Guyao's idea for a long time, and he is not looking at the side, but Guyao's soul. Guyao's soul is very special. Maybe it is the soul of the legendary heavenly spirit race, then plundering his soul may be able to solve the problem of his soul completely. Yes, there was a problem with his soul. He used to be friends with Qianjing and talked about everything, but no one knew that he was actually jealous of Qianjing, because Qianjing's soul was stronger than him and had a talent for cultivation. It's amazing, and he wants to bridge that gap. Therefore, while extracting from Qianjing the exercises and various magical powers he cultivated, he secretly found ways to strengthen his soul. Later he found it, that is to use other people's soul power to enhance himself. He entered a ruins and obtained a mysterious inheritance there. After this kind of pure soul power, he felt the pleasure of the soul's continuous enhancement, and it was beyond control. At first, it was the idea of immortal beasts and star beasts. Later, he turned his attention to the same kind, because the soul power obtained in this way was more powerful and pure. At that time, Qianjing was no longer needed for him, and Qianjing was no longer needed. The soul is strong, so he has the idea of Jianjing. It just didn't occur to him that Jianjing would be exposed to the soul poison, and finally he tried his best to give him a heavy blow and escaped. Kong Qian was worried that his deeds would be exposed, and wanted to continue with the previous method, so let himself change to another. It is more convenient for him to act in the dark. As a result, the sky fell. The fall of such a genius made many monks in the fairy and demon world feel extremely regretful, but they were quickly thrown away. There are too many cases of genius falling in the middle, and it is the last genius is the real winner in life. It's just that Kong Qian didn't expect that Qinjing's last counter-kill would leave him a lot of hidden dangers. There were cracks in the depths of his soul, and the cracks could not be repaired. The stronger the soul, the more the cracks spread and expanded. Which made him take a small step in plundering other people's souls, and he was looking for ways to repair the cracks in the soul. He also knew that if this hidden danger was not solved, he was afraid that he would not be able to reach the highest position. What he didn't know was that maybe he knew in his heart but he didn't want to admit it, that Qinjing's attack was just an introduction. The most fundamental reason for the cracks in the depths of his soul was that he used external force to increase the power of his soul, even if the energy absorbed, no matter how pure it is against the harmony of heaven, and it belongs to external power after all, and there is a more or less repulsion between him and his own soul. It is this repulsion that erupts after the introduction. He didn't want to admit it, because he didn't want to admit his failure. He searched for a long time, and finally let him find out that there is a very special kind of person's soul that will become his best repair medicine, that is the soul of the heavenly spirit race. The stronger it is, the better it is, because he is strong enough, and weak if so, only part of it can be repaired. Over the years, he usually cast a net and focused on fishing, and finally let him discover such a big fish as Guyao. How could he miss it? Some people think that Guyao and Qi Changjai's cultivation bases haven't changed much, and they shouldn't play a decisive role. However, some people think that they would rather miss it than let it go. Just as they are about to ask the two of them, the fluctuations of space and energy are still continuing. Didn't stop, so he didn't care about the two. Even Kong Qian looked away, staring at the center of the wave. Guyao let out a sigh of relief. His patience with Kong Qian was going to the limit before. He was not afraid of Kong Qian's shot, but he was eager for him to shoot. He happened to have a name to kill him, and he was stared at his soul by such a person. How could he endure it? No hurry, sooner or later clean him up. Qi Changjai's eyes were full of killing intent. At this moment, a stone tablet appeared in the air, exuding a mysterious charm. Many monks' eyes were red. That's it? The control hub of the temple, the most important thing in the whole temple. Grab. For a lifetime, the monks rushed towards the steel impatiently, trying to refine it first. Refining the stone tablet and controlling the entire temple, the secret of the controller is naturally not a secret, so this stone tablet is the most important thing in the entire temple and must not be missed. Kill. The two cultivators of the same camp suddenly attacked their companions. By surprise, the cultivator was almost killed by the two and fled with all his might, but he was unable to kill the enemy no matter how much he hated it. I have to flee as far as possible, seize the time to repair the injury, and maybe there is still time to come back to settle accounts. This start makes other monks also vigilant, lest they be attacked by their companions. The previous camp quickly disintegrates, and the atmosphere is tense to the extreme. Maybe one Mars can explode quickly. At this critical juncture, an Emperor-level late-stage void beast beside Kong Qian suddenly exploded with a bang and exploded. Even Kong Qian did not expect this at all. A deadly crisis hit his heart, and the cracks in the depths of his soul seemed to widen again. Go, Immortal Emperor Qianjing, who didn't know where he was hiding, suddenly appeared in the palace, and as soon as he showed up, he killed the sky. At the same time, Guyao and Qi Changjai also started, not only them, but also the Feng clan. as well as the Ziji Immortal Emperor Huang Yushan and others. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen cultivators rushed towards the sky. Today, I will kill Kong Qian, and I will not participate in your competition. If you block it, then what we will do next is out of your control. Qianjing Immortal Emperor released ruthless words, and originally wanted to cooperate with Kong Qian. The cultivator who wanted to stop it stopped after a while. Although he valued Kong Qian's help, standing on his side at this time would not be worth the loss, because the monks who wanted to deal with him now had more help than he could provide. Don't worry about him, it's important to compete for the stone tablet, a peak boss said, and the others couldn't care about the situation in Kongshan, and turned around and stared at the stone tablet. In an instant, two battles broke out in the palace, one centered on the sky dome, and the other centered on the stone tablet. Immortal Emperor Qianjing actually hid himself after entering the inner hall. He also entered the palace, but he quickly got out of the test because his willingness was very simple. Because Kong Qian has tortured him for tens of thousands of years, he can't stand the pain of his soul even if he is another person. He understands it early on himself, or if the soul can't support it, the poison of the soul has spread long ago, and his life is gone, and the more he can endure, the more intense the hatred in his heart. If he does not solve this enemy, Immortal Emperor Qianjing will not be able to let go of this knot, and his cultivation will not be able to rise to the peak. Kong Qian was furious. He didn't expect Qianjing, the bastard, to be waiting for him here, and he didn't know when Qianjing controlled a void beast beside him, and he moved other hands and feet on the void beast's soul. After the self-destruction, the cracks on his soul intensified, and the soul became unstable. Damn it! I shouldn't have spared your life and let you go in the first place. If I had dealt with you in the first place, how could I have been counted by you? Kong Qian couldn't understand at this moment. It must be Qianjing who had appeared in the palace. He controlled a void beast before he showed up, which was too easy for Qianjing. Qianjing sneered, and shot a hook-shaped Hushin Lingbao, which was designed to hook people's souls. On the other side, Zig, Huang Yushan, and Feng Guanglonghuang also blocked Kong Qian's way, and the others took action against those void beasts and Kong Qian. Qian's other helpers, Qi Changjai swept the array from the side, Guyao sacrificed the soul-swinging bell and slammed into the sky. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 786. What? Kong Qian let out a terrifying cry, which startled the other monks who were concentrating on fighting. With a swipe of consciousness, he found the abnormal situation in Kong Qian, but no one came to rescue him. It would be good to have one less competitor. Under the savage impact of the dangling soul bell, the soul that had been cracked by the self-destruction and sneak attack of the void beast, the cracks expanded, and the pain of tearing the source of the soul tore through the soul caused Kong Qian to scream unbearably. Scarlet, people become more and more mad. Kong Qian himself didn't realize that a strange blue-black suddenly appeared in his soul, and the blue-black began to spread, and the nearby soul power was also stained with this color, but at this moment, the soul power began to riot in Kong Qian. Fundamentally no such change was noticed. Qianjing seized the opportunity and pulled the hook-shaped Lingbao fiercely, and then tore off a large piece of soul power. The painful sky was more like a madman. Past. Old thief in the sky, do you really think I don't know what you've done all these years? The soul power you plundered from other cultivators is not your own, no matter how pure it is. Isn't this taste very soul-sucking? Haha. Immortal Emperor Ziji and the others didn't know what good things Kong Qian had done, but they did not doubt Immortal Emperor Qianjing's words at the moment, because the symptoms that Kong Qian showed were very similar to what Qianjing described. Kong Qian growled. Haha. Qianjing laughed loudly. It's a waste of my trust in you at the beginning, but you used this trust to infect me with soul poison, and now I return the soul poison in my body to you as it is, so that you can taste it. The taste that has been endured for tens of thousands of years, haha. Soul poison, Immortal Emperor Ziji, Huang Yushan, and others were all shocked. Unexpectedly, Immortal Emperor Qianjing still retained the soul poison and reported it to Kong Qiang. Immortal Emperor Qianjing was tortured by soul poison for tens of thousands of years. With the help of Guyao to refine the top-quality Jiguxing soul pill and detoxify it, but now is there anyone who provides the same top-grade Jiguxing soul pill for Kong Qiang? I have to say that when they first learned that Qianjing tortured tens of thousands of people for soul poison, they couldn't help but admire them. If they were replaced, they might not be able to endure this torture. Looking at Kong Qiang again, it is a soul poison, and a crack in his soul. One can imagine what kind of pain Kong Qiang is suffering, but they are ruthless. His soul has grown to such a degree. How many years have the monk fell into his hands and became an offering for his soul? Damn it! They also thought that some genius monks had died inexplicably over the years. Maybe they were poisoned by Kong Qiang. They are also secretly vigilant in their hearts. Relying on foreign objects to enhance themselves is only foreign objects, not what they own. In the end, it will become their own fatal hidden danger. The current situation of Kongshan is not the best example. Looking at the appearance of Immortal Emperor Qianjing, he knew that Kong Qiang would not die any better, so a few people communicated, spread out at the same time, and landed in a foreign position. Qiang was firmly trapped in the middle, and only Immortal Emperor Qianjing and Guyao were left in the middle. One used the hook-shaped spiritual treasure and the other used the soul-swinging bell, both of which rushed out of the sky. The hook-shaped spiritual treasure kept tearing apart the soul of the sky, and the soul-shaking clock kept hitting, causing the cracks in the soul of the sky to continue to intensify, and the more violent the soul power, the more the sky could not control him, the soul poison. It also penetrated into his soul at a faster speed. Immortal Emperor Qianjing wanted to experience the most unbearable pain in the world, instead of solving him cleanly, otherwise how could he be worthy of his tens of thousands of years of torture? Everything is thanks to the old thief in the sky. Kong Qiang was angry. Kong Qiang wished he could not destroy this world, and died with Qianjing and others. He couldn't let these people get what he couldn't get. However, with the riot of the soul, the fragments were torn apart more and more. His mind was also confused, and it was unknown how long it took, as if after countless centuries, his soul fell into chaos, and the torture finally ended. At this time, there was only the last bit of soul left in his sea of consciousness. Like a candle in the wind, it could be extinguished at any time. At this level, even if he could regain consciousness, such a fragile soul would not be able to support him. Immortal Emperor Qianjing was out of breath, and his face turned white. The hook-shaped spiritual treasure is a soul tool, and it also needs soul power to drive it, so his consumption is extremely high. If it is not for Guyao to help, he simply cannot force the sky to this point. However, he was very happy. A fire burned the sky clean, the haze in his heart was completely dissipated, and the bottleneck that stuck him was loosened. Thanks to the help of many parties, Immortal Emperor Qianjing has opened up a lot after he walked out of the haze, and he would like to express his thanks to Immortal Emperor Ziji and others. Thank you for your help. Qianjing was able to avenge his great revenge today. If necessary, Qianjing will go all out. Haha, Immortal Emperor Qianjing is very polite. If it wasn't for what Kong Qiang did in the past, we could still stand by and watch, but what Kong Qiang did is outrageous. There is one more of him in the fairy, demon, and demon world. I don't know how many disasters will happen. Today in order to take revenge, we will eradicate the cancer of the three realms, and everyone will get what they get. Immortal Emperor Ziji said politely. Yeah, Huang Yushan also said, if it wasn't for Immortal Emperor Qianjing's disclosure, I still don't know how much wind and rain the sky has stirred behind. Immortal Emperor Qianjing doesn't need to be polite, Kong Qiang is also the enemy of our Phoenix clan. My dragon family is also. The smile on Immortal Emperor Qianjing's face was even more genuine. Although this world of immortals, demons, and demons is well placed, betrayal can be seen everywhere for the sake of becoming higher and stronger, but not everyone has lost their perseverance in their hearts. It doesn't make sense in the end. Then I won't say more, the battle over there is not over yet, everyone still has a chance, I won't delay everyone in the hands of these people, it is better than the monks who are fighting. After Qianjing finished speaking, he retreated to the corner and swallowed the medicinal pills to adjust his breath. Guyao was not too consumed. In fact, Qi Changjai maintained his strength and silently walked to Guyao's side to protect him. Although the two came out at the same time, their gains were not the same in the stage of being tested, but Guyao could clearly feel the improvement of Qi Changjai's strength, and his control over the power of destruction became more comfortable. This kind of energy is a kind of double-edged sword. It has strong lethality to the enemy. If it is not well controlled, it will also cause great harm to oneself, but now the situation has greatly improved. Guyao glanced at the stone tablet that everyone was fighting for, and a strange feeling flashed in his heart. This is the same as the stone tablet he got in the test. He can even feel that he can manipulate it for a or two, but he doesn't know that these monks fought to the end, but found that the stone tablet was controlled by him to escape. No one can get what kind of mood they will be. He has deeply understood the benefits of the stone tablet. His soul has undergone a qualitative transformation. With this constant transformation, he is also moving towards the master step by step. When he dealt with the sky before, he did not use all his strength, so as not to be found abnormal by those monks, otherwise it is very likely that the besieged by the monks will be replaced by himself. He glanced at Qi Changjai, he had already made up his mind about the ownership of the steel, then closed his eyes and adjusted his breath, thinking about how to make Qi Changjai the biggest winner in this battle without a trace. As soon as Kongshan died, the void beasts and helpers around Kongshan were quickly eliminated by others. From entering the inner hall to the present, the fallen monks have approached double digits, and the battle for the steel has become more and more fierce. Needless to say, after entering the temple, the place where the monks fell the most was here. The fighting was really tragic. A cultivator was attacked and killed by other people who agreed to kill him first. When he was seriously injured, he resolutely blew himself up. In addition to his own fall, he also seriously injured those cultivators. Another group of monks took the opportunity to turn their guns and killed them, so it didn't take long for 3 more monks to fall. The tragic situation has caused some monks to withdraw from the center of the battle. Immortal Emperor Ziji and Huang Yushan watched secretly in shock. Although they expected such a situation, they couldn't bear to see it with their own eyes. If they didn't help at first. Immortal Emperor Qianjing, now I'm afraid that I can't help myself, even if they want to withdraw, those people will not let them withdraw. The Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix Emperor also stood aside to watch, not intending to reach out to it, but there were also many cultivators who were secretly vigilant against their group to prevent them from taking advantage of the fishermen in the end. No matter how fiercely they fought, those attacks could not cause any damage to the steel, and they always passed by. Immortal Emperor Ziji and others were secretly shocked. Compared with the gods, this is the real fetish. Including the existence of this temple itself, is far beyond their cognition. Haha, this steel belongs to me. A cultivator suddenly jumped out of the crowd, pounced on the steel, and tried to refine it as soon as he hugged it. Go away, they were so jealous that they flew over to several people in a blink of an eye. The shot was the biggest attack, and the cultivator was smashed into blood and vomited. The stone tablet still looks like that, and it is not affected by the slightest bit, but it is different from before. The thing is, the stone tablet actually flew away from its original position under their joint attack and flew downwards. Go away, Below are immortal emperors Ji and Huang Yushan. The cultivators who are jealous of their identities care about their identities and pounce on them. Anyone who competes with them for the stone tablet is their enemy, and the enemy is their enemy. Never die. Immortal emperors Ji and Huang Yushan withdrew their brows, still not wanting to participate. What is the difference between seeing these people's jealous appearance and going crazy? This stone tablet does not seem to be a fetish, but a monster. The stone tablet flew towards the Dragon Emperor again in their fight. The Dragon Emperor was so annoyed that he didn't want to participate. Could this stone tablet have its own consciousness? Want to let the dragons get involved too? Without even thinking about it, he punched the steel with a punch, which made the jealous cultivator stunned, which seemed to prove that the Dragon Emperor had no intention of fighting. The next moment, the stone tablet slammed into Qi Changjai's position. With a bang, the stone tablet turned into golden spots of light, all of which were drilled into Qi Changjai's body, and the entire palace was instantly dead silent. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 787. The dead silence was only a short moment. The next moment, those monks who grabbed the red eyes rushed towards Qi Changjai. Even if they turned into gold dots and got into his body, they would have to dig them out from the inside. But when they flew halfway, they suddenly lost control. The ban in the inner hall was fully activated, and as soon as the eyes darkened, they were thrown out, and the monks with red eyes and onlookers were all thrown into the outer hall. Ah! Hurry up and attack, you mustn't let that get away. One by one, they attacked the transparent cover covering the inner hall like crazy, but no matter how they moved, they could not cause the cover to react, and they stood there firmly, guarding the inner hall. Since these monks entered the inner hall, the monks who stayed outside and could not enter, some continued to explore the treasures excavated in the outer hall, and some stayed outside the hood, hoping to have a chance to enter it. At this time, they were shocked and speculated that it happened. What happened? Immortal Emperor Ziji, Emperor Yushan, Dragon Emperor and Phoenix Emperor, including Qi and Jing and others also came out. Seeing that these monks refused to admit defeat and insisted on attacking the barrier, they sneered and said, "What else can I do? The temple has a master, or myself." Yes, they refuse to admit defeat, but in the end it's just a futile struggle. They were also shocked by the previous scene, especially the Dragon Emperor. They all looked at their hands suspiciously. It was him who slammed the stone tablet to Qi Changjai with one punch. Maybe it was not Qi Changjai who was destined for that day, but him. This hand is the hand of destiny. His hand chose Qi Changjai, so Qi Changjai won. Maybe he chose someone else, or someone else won. At this moment, Emperor Feng's voice sounded in Dragon Emperor's mind, "Don't be delusional, without your punch, the final outcome will not change. You are not as important as you think." The Dragon Emperor was not convinced. "Then what are you talking about?" "Oh, because the steel already has an owner, it is controlled by someone," Feng Huang asserted. "No way. The Dragon Sovereign is stupid, it's impossible, he already has a master, why did he move at that time?" "Oh, by the way," the Dragon Emperor remembered. Before, a group of them were working together to deal with Kong Kaiang and his helpers. That is to say, the owner of the stone tablet was not free at first, right? This reason convinced the Dragon Emperor. Is that the ancient alchemist or the Qi Immortal Emperor? The ancient alchemist also stayed inside. The Dragon Monarch asked curiously. Maybe both of them have a share. Feng Huang hesitated, and what is the difference between their husbands? At this time, a voice came from the inner hall, 10 days later, the temple will be closed, everyone cherish. Isn't this the voice of the ancient alchemist? The ancient alchemist is the master of the temple, the monk outside exclaimed. It's him, the cultivator has cultivated to such a level that he can't distinguish a person's voice. The Feng Huang laughed, and the result made him very satisfied. The other members of the Phoenix clan also left. Guyao and Feng Huang had a good relationship. It would undoubtedly be of great benefit to the Feng clan if Guyao got it. The Dragon Emperor and the members of the Dragon clan are not in a bad mood. The Dragon clan has not done anything to irritate Guyao until today, and they have always cooperated happily. It goes without saying that the Ziji Immortal Emperor Huang Yushan and the others have not known each other for a long time. Although he has not known Guyao for a long time, he knows what kind of temperament he has done for the Void City. Luo Yang, Hu Su, and the others are naturally more happy for Guyao, that is their brother, and their backstage will be bigger in the future. Let's go, there are 10 days left, hurry up to find the baby, don't waste it. Some cultivators hurry up to explore the last time, and don't wait for it to be outdated. Some cultivators are still unwilling to give up. The opportunity that was within reach is lost, so how can they be reconciled? It's a pity that the 10th day is up, and they didn't blow open a crack in the barrier of the inner hall. When the time was up, they were sent out by the temple and returned to the outside of the eruption of space debris. They watched the eruption gradually heal, and the starry sky recovered. The original state, and the temple has completely disappeared. Damn it! Some people think that Guyao and Qi Changjai are not alone, they still have masters and friends, they are still ascension monks, and their relatives come from the lower realm. If they hold them as threats, will these two give in? Everyone has their own thoughts, but this time is much calmer than when they were inside. As soon as this thought flashed, cold sweat came out. If they dared to make a move, what would happen to them waiting for them? Are today's Guyao and Qi Changjai still stunned young people who have practiced for thousands of years in their eyes? The monks who can be recognized by the temple are really only the late immortal emperors. Someone woke up, and the moment the stone tablet exploded into golden light and penetrated into Qi Changjai's body, Qi Changjai's cultivation base was also exposed. That was the peak of the immortal emperor, no, maybe a little higher than the peak. That is to say, they hid their cultivation, and everyone was deceived by these two stunned youths. Some people stayed and waited, some people left. Immortal Emperor Ziji and others rushed to Void City immediately, and also divided some people to Piaoxiu Immortal Domain to protect all those related to Guyao and the others. Do you really think they didn't see the thoughts of those guys? If they were to succeed, they would surely be waiting for a slaughter. Master and apprentice Mason in Void City quickly got the news that only his apprentice and Qi Changjai stayed in the temple, and the last scene had been spread, which undoubtedly showed that Qi Changjai was the choice of the temple, and the two were pleasantly surprised. Qianjing also returned to Void City. Over the years, he has only lived for one purpose, which is revenge. Now that the enemy is dead, he has nowhere to go. After all these years, the days when he stayed in Void City were the most comfortable and comfortable. So I came back after thinking about it, maybe he can still play some role. As for Kong Qiang's son Shen Wei, he also died in the hands of the Feng clan. Even though he had the blood of the Phoenix clan, it was a disgrace to the Feng clan. He could not tolerate his existence and had to send him to die. With the death of their father and son, the major forces in the fairy and demon world are bound to launch an action to clear their remaining power. The Void City was full of joy, and there was an endless stream of monks and forces who came to visit Meisun's master and apprentice, so they could only close the door to thank the guests and wait for the return of Guyao and Qi Changjai. In the East Forest city of Piaoxiu Immortal region, the monks here do not know what is happening in the distant star region. Hiding in the dark guards the safety of the star field. She also got the news, and she was very fortunate in her heart. At the beginning, she stopped Immortal Lu Yun. Who would have thought that the two monks who had just ascended not long ago could reach such a point in a short period of time? Immortal Lu Yun chose to oppose Guyao Qi Changjai, but she ended up dying. She chose to show affection to Guyao and Qi Changjai, and she changed from Immortal Piaoxiu to Immortal Emperor Piaoxiu. One thought, the result is completely different. Half a year later, in Void City, Mei Suan and a few people stayed in the yard chatting, and now the heat outside is still high, and they can't meditately retreat and practice until they see Guyao. Suddenly, the people in this yard, as well as the high-level executives of the 3 major martial arts halls, and the high-level leaders who are friends with Guyao's master and apprentice, all received voice transmissions from the depths of the starry sky at the same time. The voice transmission expressed 2 things. First, they picked up Mei Suan, including Immortal Emperor Yu Heng. Second, Guyao and Qi Changjai husband would hold a banquet in half a year to entertain guests from all walks of life. There will be invitations to send. In your hands, please wait for the good news. Mei Suan and the others disappeared out of thin air under everyone's attention. Even the emperor-level peak masters would have no way of knowing where they were headed. These methods made it impossible to doubt the strength of Guyao and Qi Changjai at almost the same time. The relatives and friends who stayed in Donglan City were also picked up by the same voice, and the remaining cultivators who were close to each other also received the same invitation. At this time, the situation about Guyao and Qi Changjai spread here. Shock. One person gains the Tao, and the chicken and the dog ascend to the sky, which is not exactly the case. At this moment, all the cultivators related to Guyao Kai Changjai have an extraordinary status. What the monks in the immortal demon realm didn't know was that at this moment, the lower realm where Guyao and the others came from, whether it was the spiritual realm or the former Tianlin continent, had greatly improved the aura's situation, especially the Tianlin continent, where the auras seemed to be after the recovery, the monks felt the most direct. They didn't know that this was a gift from Guyao and Qi Changjai. A month later, invitations fell from the sky in many places in the immortal demon realm and landed precisely in the hands of the invitees. The monks who got the invitations opened it immediately, and the location was clearly displayed in their sea of consciousness. These methods are not so miraculous. What is surprising is the location that appears. They remember that the energy of the star field is chaotic and the environment is sinister. There is no large land. Needless to say, in a short period of time, Guyao and Qi Changjai remodeled the place, and in the future, it may become the base camp for the 2 of them. Those who are far away and those with weaker cultivation bases are already ready to set off, and it will take a lot of time to rush over. Those with strong cultivation bases are close enough to arrive in almost a space transfer. For a time, the fairy and demon world was lively, sweeping away the anxiety of being invaded by the void beast and the trip to the temple. The major businesses were especially prosperous, because the monks from all walks of life who received the invitation were all preparing for the congratulatory gifts. Businesses are also making a lot of money because of this. Half a year passed in the blink of an eye. After half a year, the monks from the 3 realms arrived in this chaotic star field. The scenery in front of them did not change, but when they took out the invitation, a protective shield popped up in the invitation and flew them forward. Ignoring all the dangers, they crossed the area and entered a peaceful place. In front of them was a large new land. On the land, fairy beasts ran and danced, and the fairy spring poured down. The fairy mist filled the air and the flowers were strange. There are countless grasses, and it is undoubtedly a rare cultivation holy place in the fairy and demon world. And there is a floating island on top of this land. The floating island is even richer to the extreme. The floating island is looming in the surrounding of these fairy mists, occasionally showing a corner, and you can see they're growing there. An extremely rare fairy grass, is it a high-level emperor? Or the top level of the emperor? Will there be magic? People cannot help but give birth to infinite reverie. Surrounded by the fairy mist, a corner of the palace is also exposed. No one can recognize the monks who have been to the temple. That is the corner of the temple. This moment is very certain. Guyao and Qi Changjai are the current owners of the temple. Which of the 2 is it necessary to make this distinction? Even if one of them owns it, it does not mean that the husband and wife jointly own it. A voice came from the floating island, "Welcome everyone from afar, Danjianyu welcomes guests from all directions today." It turned out that this star field has been renamed the Danjianyu, which is in line with the characteristics of the husband and wife. One is an alchemist, and the other is a sword cultivator. When the sound fell, the formation of Danjian city opened, and the fairy beasts living inside and the star beasts living in the starry sky here, whether they were flying in the sky or running on the ground, immediately arranged in 2 rows, or roared, or whimpering to greet guests who come. Behind those fairy beasts, some monks flew out. It was the monks who were first picked up by Guyao and Qi Changjai, such as Immortal Emperor Yu Heng, Alchemist Mai Xuan, and Immortal Emperor Qi Enjing among them. He volunteered those who came to help. Of course, this is also an excellent place of shelter, and there are some monks at the monarch level and even at the level of heaven and earth. However, the guests who came here did not despise them because of their cultivation. They even thought in their hearts that this kind of immortal is normal. A few monks spent thousands of years leaving behind their monks who had cultivated for tens of thousands of years and hundreds of thousands of years. The 2 of them are abnormal, and it is somewhat comforting to see them. The originally deserted Pill Sword City became lively because of the arrival of these guests one after another. The monks who came here also feasted their eyes. There were rare fruit trees everywhere, and rare fairy fruits could be picked at any time. There was a fairy grass everywhere. Pill Sword City only appeared recently. Does this mean that Guyao and Qi Changjai's methods have already reached the sky? At first, the arrival of these emperor-level bigwigs made Guyao and Qi Changjai walk out of the temple in person. Unfortunately, there were too few people who could serve guests, which showed that the foundation of the 2 was still too weak. As they walked out, a ladder descended vertically from the floating island, and the 2 walked down from the ladder to greet everyone one by one. Immortal Emperor Ziji and Huang Yuxian glanced at each other, and their hearts were filled with emotion. They could still see Guyao's cultivation that day. Although they knew that something was hidden and only revealed the late stage of Immortal Emperor, now, Guyao and Qi Changjai were with them. In their eyes, they are no different from ordinary people, as if they have no immortal energy in their bodies. However, the 2 know that this is only an appearance, but in fact, their strength has reached the point where they can look up. And the 2 are the same, which made the guests have some guesses. The master of the temple is actually not 1, but 2, that is, the Taoist couple Guyao and Qi Changjai became the masters of the temple at the same time. Taking the step of becoming a master is really enviable. Guyao and Qi Changjai invited these bigwigs to go to the floating island to talk about Taoism, which made everyone very happy. Now Guyao and Qi Changjai are walking in front of them, the master is the teacher, and their discussion of Taoism is very important to them. The absolute harvest is very shallow, which is very beneficial. During this period, other guests will arrive one after another, or go to the floating island to listen to the 2 masters, or stay below to chat and explore this new Danjian city. Many of these monks are familiar faces and gather here. Again excited. Senior Sword Demon, fellow Daoist Yanyu Enjing, it's really you. I didn't expect Alchemist Gu to invite you too. Since your ascension, you haven't seen each other again. Sword Demon and Yanyu Enjing remembered the scene of receiving the invitation that day, and they couldn't help but smile. They had just come back from the calendar and knew nothing about the situation outside. When they received the invitation from the sky, they were still confused. After receiving all kinds of envious and jealous glances from the surrounding monks, they also learned the reason from their mouths, and the monks who were familiar with them did not know that they also knew Guyao Kai Changjai. The 2 teachers and apprentices who received the invitation set off immediately. Of course, such a grand event must be congratulated in person. This situation did not only happen to the 2 of them. At that time, there were many monks in the fairyland and demon world who encountered the same situation. Most of them were ascended monks, and of course there were also local monks, such as Tao Zian and Xia Beishu. In the past, Guyao and Qi Changjai couldn't know their whereabouts, and it was extremely difficult to reunite with them, but now they can search the entire fairyland with a single thought, and it is very easy to send an invitation. It is also possible to bring people over directly, but this ability has never been used except when he was picking up his master, aunt, and mother. This discussion lasted for several months, and every cultivator who left was extremely satisfied, and each cultivator received a return gift from Guyao and Chi Changjai. The medicine pill made them very happy. After the existence of Danjianyu was spread, it aroused the yearning of countless cultivators, especially the alchemist and the sword cultivator. You can tell just by hearing the name, and the two masters are a top-level alchemist and a top-level sword cultivator. It is said that there are countless top-grade immortal stones and top-grade immortal grass, and it is more likely that Guyao and Chi Changjai will personally instruct him. However, as soon as those guests left, the Pill Sword region was closed again. The closure was not open until 100 years later. Once the news came out, it attracted countless pill masters and sword cultivators to go there, because it was reported that there was the most powerful place in the immortal demon realm. Good pill and sword pavilions, those who can enter it, will definitely be able to make great progress in pill and swordsmanship. As a result, the popularity of Danjianyu gradually increased. However, apart from being invited by Guyao and Chi Changjai, no one can enter the floating island above Danjian city, and no one can see the true face of the temple. Guyao and Chi Changjai stood on the floating island and looked down. In Danjian city, there were two towers standing on the left and the right. One was the Dan Pavilion and the other was the Sword Pavilion. Of course, it was not open to the public for free. The conditions also require the monk to reach the corresponding level and accept the corresponding test. The test is the character and ability. Even if you want to enter the Pill Sword domain, you need to fly in by yourself. If you can't get in, you are unlucky. This also caused some monks to be blocked by the dangerous environment outside. It is so. In just a few decades, there are hundreds of thousands of monks in the Pill Sword city below. Although it cannot be compared with a city with a population of hundreds of millions, but it's not the 3 or 2 kittens it used to be. Guyao smiled and said, I think we are half-step controllers at best. Chi Changjai raised his eyebrows and said, this is not the right way, it will give us enough time to do what we want to do. Remember that when you were in the lower realm, you wanted to travel all over the world and study all the medicines you could come across, but all these years we have been unable to stop and realize your wishes. We have been walking up and down, walking too fast, ignoring many people and things around us, and now we can make up for them one by one. We will go to other worlds. Guyao smiled, you're right, the half-step controller is enough for us, and joining forces is equivalent to a controller. The sky and the earth can't escape our perception, it's time to calm down, do what we want to do. Then he became interested again and said, although the alchemy masters from the alchemy pavilion in the past few days are not of high rank, some of their ideas are quite unique. Why don't we go back to the ordinary alchemy master and have a look? Okay, I'm happy. Chi Changjai grabbed Guyao's hand, and the two disappeared together on the floating island. Below, in front of the Pill Pavilion suddenly appeared 2 alchemy masters whose cultivation was only in heavenly immortals. Since then, there have been many legends about Guyao and Chi Changjai in the Pill Sword domain. Authors gossip, the finale is over, and here is the end of the full text. Over.